Hey everybody, we're going to be working on this 2014 Chevy 1500. As you can see, the corner of the bedside has been pushed in so deep that it's making the tailgate, it's stopping the tailgate from actually opening. If you look up in there, you can see that it is actually crunched in at the very top underneath the tail light. Very, very deep penetration point up there at the top, but we'll get her all shaped up. So now you can see where the edge has actually stopped the tailgate from opening. One of the first things that we're going to have to do when tackling a dent like this is get it off that edge so we can open that tailgate and actually remove the light so we can get in there and start working underneath there. Yep, right there, that corner. The guy who brought this in couldn't even open his tailgate. First thing, I'm going to start with a plastic window wedge. And I'm going to kind of dolly that edge up there. Now, if you can see this, I am not denting the edge whatsoever. It's a nice little structural point there. And now I'm kind of taking the back side of the window wedge there and just dollying it out of the way. Very slowly, open that tailgate and make sure that it is not touching the edge. All right, we're looking good. So now me and Alan are going to go ahead and remove the tailgate. Just going to get it out of our way. Could probably do it with it on, but as you can see, this is going to be probably a 30-second job getting this tailgate off. Much, much easier to work on this, just getting this thing out of our way. Go ahead and lay it off to the side here. Sometimes you can lay it in the back of the bed if you don't have a stand there with you, if you're mobile. Now we can see the inside there of the damage. We can check it out without that tailgate on there. See, it really pushed in the edge of the panel. Good thing on these bed sides, once we go ahead and pull this tail light off, you're going to see that the inner structure is pretty, it can move a lot better than most inner structures on a bedside. It's actually, the edge is not welded down. So we'll go ahead and unhook the tail light, get that sucker out of our way. And we are going to have a giant hole to work down. There you go. Now you see the amount of damage there. Dang near bottomed out. It's pretty tight in there. Probably an inch to work with there at the deepest point. And as you can see here, it really stressed the edge of that line. I mean, it stressed it. We're going to have to put touch-up paint there at some point. I know it. But it'll be hidden, so it'll be under the light. Now we got our heat gun set up, and we are pointing it directly at that impact point. I know that we're going to have to keep heat on that at least during the molding procedure and the big movement procedure that we're going to do here real soon. And here we are. Got a basketball here, and if you're familiar with my rapid metal movement technique, you will be pretty familiar with this technique. I'm trying to scrunch it down right now and basically get all the air out of it. Got a one of them, the inflating pins there on the inside, and just kind of getting all the air out. And as you can see, like I said earlier, we only had about an inch to work with, so we're barely going to be able to snug this thing in there. Definitely at least get enough in there to where we can kind of jack it out a little bit or pump it out a little bit, and then once we get a bigger gap made, we'll push the ball down in there further. So really this is just getting to the point to where we're going to line it up to where we can really start to move that edge, and that's kind of where the heating is going to come in. Go ahead and insert the inflating pin there. And you're going to find yourself going through a lot of them. So they tend to break pretty easy, but there we go. Heat gun's on now. Got it, or we think that we got it pointed right at the spot where we need it. May have to do some adjustments once we start reading the temperature here. But that's why we have an infrared gun. So we can actually point it in different areas. I want the highest temperature definitely be right there at the top, or at least I want it to be in one of the areas that have the higher temperatures. That's fine. We'll likely get this thing up to 160 before we start pumping it up. See, now it's already up to 157 right there. So now we'll go ahead and thread on my $6 bike pump that I bought at Walmart and get it all set and ready to start pumping. There you have it. Doesn't take long. I want you to pay attention to the ball, but also pay attention to that rear corner there. Watch that corner start lining itself up. See how every pump, how that corner there, see how it's just moving right into place? Now, at some point during this, we're probably going to overextend it a little bit, but that's not the least of my worries at this point in the repair. We go. Looks like we got a nice big gap there at this point. The ball definitely inflated out quite a bit. It lined the edge up there. And now we are going to deflate it. Go in definitely for a second round with this. So there we are. Just going to go ahead and now that we got a little bit more of a gap there, we probably got a 2 to 2.5 inch gap now, opposed to a 1 inch gap. We're just going to go ahead and push it right on down in there. Get it all set to not just pumping the edge at this point. Really, the impact point is going to be down there where that larger dent is. So now, got the edge lined up. I'm looking to move that dent out. Now you can see I'm kind of angling my heat gun a little bit different now because we got the lineup. And although the paint is fractured there a little bit, it did not break loose or bust off to the point where we really had a bad looking repair. It's just got what we would call like a stress cracking. So now again, going to go ahead and thread on our handy dandy basketball pump and get to pumping. Yeah, it's kind of funny that I just couldn't believe the strength of this technique. I mean, I'm just a fan of using things that work. Sounds a little bit lame sometimes to pull out a basketball, but I'm telling you, if you just watch the way the center of this damage starts to flex, I mean, think about the deep, deep dent that we had to begin with, where it just looked like the edge was annihilated, and now look at it. I mean, as you can see, it's just really pushing it out to the point to where it's leaving me very little finishing work. You can see I'm still pumping away. It got to the point where it's taken a little bit out of line on that back side, but if you know these fenders, that's going to be something that once we do our repair work and once we finish up, we're going to have to push that rear edge in, the one that was up near the tailgate. We're going to have to push that in anyhow at some point, so not so worried about that. I'm kind of more worried about just getting that dent moved along quite a bit. And as you can see, I mean, it was like the size of a softball. Now it looks like 2 50-cent pieces. Now it's 2 deep ones, but definitely was worth it going this route. So now we're going to go ahead and finish up this first video, and that's just using the rapid metal movement technique, and we'll go ahead and go on to the second video. All finished.